I will call the Plan Commission meeting of April 8th, 2025 to order. Roll call.
Anna here.
Laura here.
Oldani here.
That brings us to item 3, approval of minutes for the March 25th meeting. It's included in your packet if anybody has any comments or edits to make. If not, I will look for a motion on the approval of minutes. Roll call, beginning with Commissioner Hanna.
Christine abstains, I was out.
Jenskis abstains.
Laura Guy.
Oldani, aye.
First item, item number 4, the site plan and architectural review. Review site and architectural plans for an Amazon hub at Riverwood Estates Apartments, an existing multifamily residential complex located at 535 West Riverview Drive, submitted by David Nankin, Legacy Riverwood LLC. Todd?
Yes, thank you. So Riverwood Estates, which is on Riverwood Drive, just south of Putes and west of Howell. They are seeking approval for an Amazon hub, which you see pictured here on the slide, which is essentially for collecting or delivery of Amazon packages on site to be adjacent to the community's clubhouse and management office. That clubhouse and management office is located just south of West Riverview Drive at the east end, dead end street there of West Riverview Drive. There's a pool, a parking lot, and the building itself. There is currently a Amazon hub there. They're looking to move that hub to the western part edge of the parking lot just south or behind the building. The hub stands about 7 feet tall. It's a little over 9 feet wide, 9.5 feet wide, and a little over 2 feet deep, sitting on a 10 by 6 foot concrete pad. So you can see that they intend to plant 2 arborvitae trees as well that'll be 10 to 15 feet tall for screening. So with the trees there and the building should offer good screening from Riverwood Drive, which is a public way. The applicant is here if you have any questions, otherwise suggested motion is on the screen.
Okay, thank you. Does the applicant have any words to say, or would you just wait for questions?
But I'm David Nankin, and we own and manage the property. We've owned it since 2001, and I think we have a great relationship with the city. We hope to continue that. And just so the hub helps to, it just collects the package.
Before you get too far, we just need your address for the record.
Sure. 200 Vine Avenue in Highland Park, Illinois.
Thank you.
The Amazon hub serves to collect packages instead of having the packages get piled up in the hallways of each building, and also it saves the staff the job of having to take the packages, and this way our residents can access the hub 24/7. So and it's a way of keeping the packages safe, and it's just another amenity that we want to offer our residents.
We'll go to questions then from the commission, starting with Commissioner Hanna. Do you have any questions?
No, I have nothing. Thank you.
No questions.
I have no questions.
I forgot to mention that there is a light that's on this hub, and you probably saw in the report, we noted that it was well exceeding the amount of kelvins for the lighting in a residential, so we'll see a condition that that light will be non-operable on the device. So the lighting will just come from the existing pole. But
Okay. I guess that gets to me then. So this is existing. It's there already, correct?
there's one existing that they located on site that they weren't aware that it required a site plan and a permit. It was observed, and in discussions, it was decided to move it to this other location to distance it from wetlands and for screening, and so they're moving it and hoping to get approval for where it is, and then they'll have to get permits and so forth.
I mean, from the map, it looks like it'll be close to the clubhouse. Is that correct? Seems like a mailbox to me. It's a needed necessity. And the arborvitae that you're going to plant to screen it is fine with me. If no other questions, we will look for a motion on item number 4. Roll call, beginning with Commissioner Bouch.
Kupczynski, aye.
Lorick, aye.
Oldani, aye.
Hannah, I.
And that brings us to item number 5, site plan and architectural review. Review site building and related plans for construction of a building addition to Oak Creek High School for a competition and community pool at 340 East Putes Road, submitted by Blaze Paul, Oak Creek Franklin Joint School District.
So as you mentioned, this is a building addition to the high school campus for a competition and community pool. As you're all familiar, the high school is east of Howell and north of Putes and west of Shepherd Avenue here. The site of the building is going to be at the south end and north ends of where Knight Place Road used to go through, which is now currently a parking lot. So you can kind of see what the views are from north and south as looking down and up as to where the building will be. And a rendering giving you kind of a taste of what it will look like there. As I mentioned, the building that they're building will be a little over 40,000 square feet, stand 34 feet tall. It will include an enclosed connection between the new building and to the east, the high school, 10 to 12th grade, and to the west, the 9th grade center. So there'll be an enclosed connections there. As I mentioned, the building will be built on top of where there's an existing parking lot that has 68 parking spaces currently. So they'll be removing 68 parking spaces. But as you can see in the gray area in the parking lot, those are expansion areas or additional parking spaces that they're going to be adding to the site, adding 92 parking spaces. So the net increase will be 24 parking spaces per site. The district did a parking calculation, and we determined that there would a need for 131 parking spaces on the site collectively shared, and counted 1,155 parking spaces. So should be ample parking on site. Interior of the building, which I mentioned, will have the competition and the community pools with a mezzanine, roughly 10,000, a little over 10,000 square foot mezzanine, around with bleachers for fans and also concessions, locker rooms and pools, as I mentioned, on that first floor. Architecturally, it's going to feature four-sided architecture. You'll have precast panels, which you can kind of see from the rendering is more of the cream-colored material. Metal wall panels for some of the trim and around the windows. And then brick along the street level. Also, glass windows will be on all four sides of the building. You can see in the rendering they have a glass enclosed entrance area, so the entrance is clearly defined by a canopy and the glass. and they incorporate horizontal banding along the building, which goes in is consistent with the high school building that's there and the ninth grade building as well. So architecturally meeting requirements for the city and blending well with the existing buildings. For landscaping, they're looking to add parking lot interior landscaping in that area where they've created new parking, which will have shade trees and ground cover as required by code. Looking to add building foundation landscaping on the north and east and west sides of the building with shrubs and perennials and ground cover. On the south side of the building, which will be mostly a walkway, they're going to be adding in 5 shade trees along that pedestrian walk, which will be beneath grates along that south-facing facade. For lighting, they're looking to add wall-mounted light fixtures around the perimeter of the building itself. As you can see, the light fixture structures there being very angular and all downward facing. Under the overhang for the canopy in the entrance area, they'll be installing some flush-mounted canopy or ceiling lights there by the entrance, and 8 new light poles, all 25 feet tall, with fixtures matching what's existing on site. All the lighting meets the requirements for color temperature of the 5,000 kelvins or less, and are all directed downward. And I see the applicants are here if you have questions. Otherwise, the suggested motion is on screen.
Thank you. Does the applicant have any comments, or would you prefer to wait for questions? Okay. The applicant noted that they will wait for questions, so we'll go right to the commission, starting on my right with Fred. Is your mic on? I don't think your mic's on.
Oh,
There you go.
sorry about that. I'm just a little concerned about the community center losing some of their parking. And how do they compensate the center? You know, it could create a little problem when you had a swimming meet and an activity at the center. And it seems like the center is losing a number of their parking spots. And how do you make up for that?
We'll just need your name and address for the record.
Steve Rohde, 7283 South 35th Street, Franklin, Wisconsin. I'm the facility director for the school district. We've been in constant communication with the community center on this. Currently, the area in question where the parking is going to the north there, next to the community center, is grass area and a drive loop that comes through that area. The community center actually stated to us that we want that section of that drive loop gone, because people come in off of Knights Way and come zooming around their building and stuff. So we talked to them and said, okay, we originally wanted to try to use some more parking towards the center. And they said, no, that would impact their business. They said, you can move north. So that's why we chose that section running up along Knights Way, to extend parking that way and not impact the majority of the parking at the community center. So they've been, you know, in touch with us, we've been in touch with them, and we try to keep them in the loop on everything we're doing with this.
So I see there's no entrance really directly into the community center on the east side.
Correct.
It
And
comes-
they actually wanted that. I believe you can still enter, if you come down around the loop
Right,
to go along the ninth grade center, then you can still get over to their main entries going
Right.
into the community center from the
they
east
have to
side.
go through the parking lot to get to the center.
Yeah, and we were surprised when they said, boy, if you can get rid of that driveway for us, it saves us a big challenge that they have all the time. So
Well,
we
it
were
was
more than
several-
happy to make use of that
There was a
space.
problem because the high school was using that as an exit.
Yep.
And they would drive through there at, you know, at the end of school.
Yeah, so we never even knew it was that big of an issue until this came up and they said, yeah, if you can get rid of that drive loop coming in by their loading dock, and we're leaving enough room so that their loading trucks can get in and back up and come back around, so they're very happy with the design.
Okay.
Yeah,
So, how many spaces or parking spaces do you need for that swimming center?
it'll depend on the event. 2 or 3 events a year are gonna be bigger events, and that's it, just 2 or 3. We've been working with the community center to say, okay, look, typically they'll be like Saturday during the day and things like that. So we're working with them to say, okay, 2 or 3 times a year, we're gonna ask permission to use more of your parking than normal. Otherwise, we should be able to stay on what was originally our parking plus the extension going to the north. So we shouldn't be taking up any of any of their parking stuff. So,
Okay.
yeah, we're very sensitive to that, and we want to make sure we're not, harming their business, if you will.
All right. The other question I have is, on the south end of the natatorium, is that an open pathway from the 9th grade to the high school? It's still maintain that, or are they going to enclose that?
We're going to enclose it. That was one of our primary objectives in putting the building where we want to put it, so that we can enclose that walkway. So the students are not subjected to the elements or to the general public when they're going between buildings. There will be a sidewalk on that south side next to the drive loop for external people who are parking to walk along that sidewalk to get to either building. But yeah, that walkway will finally be enclosed, and we won't have to worry about kids walking out in the open through the middle of winter.
Okay. Well, thank you. That's it.
All right, I'm up. All right, keep this slide up, Todd. And where Knight's Place is, so that road's just gonna kind of come right into these. Yeah, you can't see where I'm pointing. Right into the park. Like, it seems like you go along the park, the Armory's up there, coming down Knight's Place, and it just kind of deads into these parking spaces. Is there gonna be some kind of almost like a parking lot, or is it just the road literally just goes right into those parking spots?
No, Knight's Way will still extend it into going east behind the school.
Okay, yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you will still be able to then come through that section of the parking lot to get to the north side of the 9th grade center. So there will be able to be vehicle traffic coming down Knight's Way south, around the natatorium, and then head west along the north side in between the community center and the 9th grade center.
Mm-hmm. The dark, so bring your current, yeah, all this dark area kind of around, yep, right in front of the new natatorium, right? Those 4 or 5 spots. What I just don't want anyone to come whipping down that road fast, and then going east, like you said, kind of, yeah, right down there. Keep going. So, you know what I mean? Is there any kind of like speed bump or something that's going to be there, so they're not coming flying in on Knight's Place?
We're actually talking about speed bumps right now.
Okay.
Not only for that area, but because we're moving all student parking down to the east side by the soccer stadium. We're going to be putting some in along those longer runs so that we can control traffic speed.
Yep.
And I'm sure if there's a need for bollards at the end of that road, so that just in case somebody loses control and
Yeah,
we don't
I
want
could
them
see that
coming into
happening.
the building, and yeah,
They're
it's
trying to whip a really fast left turn, and there's people parking there and getting out of their
Snow and-
car. Yeah, and if it's flush with the road, there's nothing really slowing them down.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's my main concern is coming down that road, and right where you're going right at that building, and there's people there, and they're trying to take a fast left turn or even a right turn.
right at that, if I can, the northwest corner of the natatorium building, down a little bit with your arrow, right where that little curve is up there, up there.
Yeah.
So like a bollard there or something
Yeah.
like that would be sufficient, I would think, is if somebody's coming down Knight's Way, you're right, that's gonna be the impact point.
Yep. Yep, those 5 or 10 spots right where Todd your cursor is, all the way keep going along. Yep, all those. That's what's concerning me right there. Those spots, people coming whipping down, trying to take a left turn. Whether you put stop there, you put a speed bump right there would be nice before they turn.
Yep.
Something to slow them down before they hit that turn would be, I think, really needed right there.
Okay.
That's my main concern. I'd like to see, I don't know if there's anything in the plans right now for that. Get them to slow down before they hit that. It's not really an intersection, but you can
Right.
either turn right into the community center, or you can turn left, or you can keep going straight into those parking spots. I'd like to see something like a stop sign, maybe, speed bump, both, something to slow people down right at that corner right
And
there.
I believe there is a stop sign right now as you're coming west behind the school.
Okay.
In between Miller Park and the school, there's a
Okay.
stop sign there. I know that there are 4 speed bumps behind the school
Yep.
already.
Yep, I'm
We're
aware of
gonna, We're
those.
gonna beef those up a little bit. They're worn
Okay.
down pretty good. You can kind of
Yep.
rumble over them.
Yep, I've been on
So
those.
it's funny, we were having that conversation just today.
Yep,
So adding another one, either heading north-south or making the turn onto Knights Way going east-west. So if they're coming down this way.
Yep. They're coming south, coming in, excited, kids coming to school, whatever it may be, something traveling south down Knights Way when they hit that little intersection there.
Yep.
I think something, speed
Okay.
bump, stop sign, or both.
We can
need
add
be
that to
there.
the plan.
Yeah, I think that's
We're,
big.
we're a ways off from putting fresh asphalt
yeah,
in, so it's good,
yeah.
good timing for
Yeah,
it.
I could see just too many people come flying in on that road,
Especially kids late for school and,
What?
things happen,
Yep. And then my other thing is, east of the new building, in between the gym and the building, what is that going to be? All that space right there? Is that just
That's a required minimum 20-foot fire break between the buildings. So
Okay.
we're required to have that gap there.
all right?
We're still gonna leave the sidewalk for egress for people coming out of the gym, out of those side doors. So we have to leave that sidewalk. There's going to be an access road still there. Okay, it narrows halfway down so that you can at least get a box truck all the way in.
Okay.
A semi can come in halfway in case we have to unload stuff into the gym through those side doors and things like that. And then our cooling unit will also be in between those 2 buildings, adjacent to the natatorium, which will be, have all the screening and things that we need for that sitting there. So that's kind of a required gap between the buildings.
Okay, and then that's we got the walkway between the 9th grade and the original building. That's nice. Finally, I think that's it for my questions. All right, thank you.
No questions. Thank you.
I see they're putting those islands in there.
Mm-hmm.
That's island drawn, that asphalt in there. Put an island in, you're gonna have to take out some asphalt. Probably know. Drawing, you'd have to remove a little bit of asphalt just to get the elevation. I don't see a grading plan in here. I would like to see a grading plan, how it's actually gonna work. I think it should, everybody, that asphalt should probably be coming out all the way back door to make that work. Without seeing the elevations, that asphalt is all really tough and they get water out of there and make this all flow correctly. I don't think this is really gonna work this way, on just in that corner. Did the community center say anything about when they're gonna be getting people dropping off supplies back there? Size of the trucks making that them turns around the islands and get back out of
Yeah, we worked with them, and a couple engineers from Nexus also worked with them on the ability to still get their required trucks in there, back up, and then be able to pull out again. So they're designing that with them in mind, and Hobo X. I don't know if do we have a grading plan or?
Just need your name and address also.
My name is Sharon Gould. My address is 422 Northview Street, Madison. So to address your concern, we have talked to the community center folks about the asphalt in that back section, and it is pretty beat up. And so we're looking at options to be able to continue it, make a continuity between the design that we have and the work that's part of their back area where the asphalt's really deteriorating. So I don't think we have a final grading plan yet because we're not that far, but that section of asphalt is going to be tied in with the rest of the parking lot, and that's intentional. Yeah, it's not in the best shape.
No, otherwise, all I have.
I only have one concern, and my kids go to the school, so, and they are driving crazy, so I want to make sure that they are safe. When we're talking about the parking lot in the back and how they're driving at the bumps, the speed bumps, and adding it, I don't know if you heard about last week or 2 weeks ago about this kid who just, okay. Oh, okay. So those, if it's something concrete like this kid, it's very dangerous. So putting something like concrete or something harsh like this, it's very dangerous to put out there. So we have to be careful what we install because there is an example that just happened. So just to be safe. Yeah, so that was my concern. Now, for the events or that competitions for the swimming pool, is it going to be during the day or just on the weekends or? Okay.
Typically for the big events like a WIA swim meet, they're on the weekend and usually in the earlier half of the day. Okay, that's so that kids are traveling from other cities, they're going to come in on buses, they'll have the event. And I've been told it's probably 2, maybe 3, depending on how well, students do, things like that. So,
how is this going to be coordinated with the other sports going around, like basketball?
Very good question, because we could have numerous large events happening at the same time. The good news is that the majority of the large swim meets will happen on a weekend once or twice a year, and we'll be talking to the community center about, can we use some of your lot for overflow? So we're going to try to keep the cars for the swim meets on that northwest parking area, what's shown on the map. The south parking, which is typically now going to be staff, won't be there on the weekends. So basketball or something like that will all be on the south side going through the main entrance of the high school, trying to keep that flow of people separate and the cars flow separate. And then if something happens with a soccer game or a football game, they'll have that whole south area to do that. So great question. And yeah, we're trying to think through every scenario we can to keep the flow going,
I have a hard time finding the parking, so that's why I'm asking when I go to those games. So some of those games are during the night, during the week, the basketball and lacrosse or any other
There'll be
games.
different times of day.
Okay.
Yeah. So all good questions.
Thank you.
So I guess that leaves me. Oh, sure, go ahead. No, go.
So, Todd, this is more of a question for you. I would like to see a condition, unless it's on a different plan that's going to come through, that they work with the city or planning approval, some traffic control moving south on that. And I don't know where the city, that's still the city streets, the Knights Place moving south, the one we were talking about, if they have to work with the city. But I'd like to see in the condition some kind of traffic control in the plan, like a stop sign, preferably a speed bump going south before the stop sign. That way they're slowing down and stopping before they just run right into that building or they whip a left turn without stopping, or right turn. So is there, could we put that, would that be in this?
Yeah, this would be the
Proposal?
opportunity to have such condition because this approval, this is just, site plan, so there's no other further plans related.
Okay.
Approval or review.
Okay.
This is it. This is I'm sorry, I asked Ashley this a week or so ago. This is a public road?
The
yet,
Knight's
Knight's
Place is private.
private, so
I think it
wouldn't be-
became private when they put that ball walkway in that separated it from the north to the south.
Yeah, it used to
Is
be
the, in
public.
private, like the district, it's the district's road, or who owns it?
Yeah,
The school
so-
district?
No longer a public road, but so we can put a condition.
Perfect.
Condition number 2 is however you want to read it. That they revise their plans for traffic calming,
Yeah.
speed bump, whatever along Knight's Place, and we can add that as a condition.
I'd be okay
for
with
new
keeping it
plans.
kind of general and, work, I trust the city staff on that. Hopefully, you guys kind of see what I'm seeing. And I guess, I don't know how we are assured that it's met, but once we get it in here,
I mean, once in any process, if we put a condition here when they come in for permits, if there's a condition saying that they need to submit revised plans showing traffic calming,
I like that.
we would have to have that in hand and see that it's acceptable, that they've done it before we would issue any permits to build.
Okay.
That's
All
how
right.
we handle it for
I-
landscaping or anything.
All
like
right,
that.
I mean, this is my idea, so I would like the rest of the commission's approval to add this as a condition. So that's my suggestion to the rest of the commission right now. And while Greg takes his turn, I can try to whip something together here, and maybe with your help, Todd, once we get there with the motion.
It's private entrance, private road. It's not
I
kind of
would
like a
be,
big driveway.
I would be concerned to overdo it because you don't want to backflow or back up on actual Pute's Road because that can impact the main road. If there is a lot of people waiting and to enter and there is a significant
Well, this
control-
isn't near Putes, though. This is Knight's Place on the other side of the community center there, where that Knight's Place, it comes down there. Is that good?
On this road here,
Yep,
Yes.
off of, yep.
right.
Yes.
Yeah, that doesn't connect to Putes.
Nope.
This would come off. I don't know. Once you get past Armory, what that road is, I don't. Oh, Groveland. Okay. Oh,
Groveland.
yeah. View from Groveland right here. Right. So when they're coming off of Groveland and they're kind of coming down that way, remember it used to go all the way through to Putes. Now it kind of, you have to either turn into one of the parking lots, either the community center or the school. Now there's going to be just a building right in front of you, So, and you can still turn into the, around the school or into the community center. But right now, according to his plans, there's nothing telling anybody to slow down, stop, or anything. And, we don't want anybody, especially when you're going to be going right where there's right in front, according to this view, this is a good view. Right where that view is, you're going to be looking at the building and some parking spots right in front. You could literally keep going on this road and pull right into a parking spot. So there, there's going to be people walking around, getting out of their cars. There has to be a minimum of stop sign, and I'm fine with overdoing it. Maybe a speed bump at some point, getting people to slow down, ultimately stopping. Then they decide: am I pulling in straight to the park at the building? Am I going left around the high school, or am I going right into the community center? Something needs to happen there. There has to be some kind of control right there. So that's I'd like to see an additional condition put in. Like I said, I can work on it while Greg's taking his turn.
I'd like to see those just pull in and back out when you're gonna have traffic coming around that road. They're gonna be coming in off of Howell, they're gonna be coming all the way around, and then they're gonna wanna pull in. They potentially could turn in right, and these people are gonna be trying to back out right into those cars. I think that's accidents waiting to happen. They're not handicapped. Those calls can get put somewhere else or just get rid of them. north, you just get rid of those stalls and have curb. That's what I'd like to see. I think those stalls are gonna be.
So I just want to clarify, you're talking where Todd has the arrow, those 5 stalls, those are the handicap stalls right now that we have?
I'm talking coming from, yep.
Those are standard parking. Yeah, those are standard parking because the ADA entrance is closer to the southern half of the walkway. Oh, just to remove the parking spot completely.
I wouldn't park.
Okay.
Kind of event, trying to get out of there.
It's already a private driveway. I think we're overthinking this a little bit.
It's closer
Yeah, but
to
you're-
the handicap entrance, where they're gonna.
It's a private road, but it's public access. I mean,
Public access.
yeah, anybody can come down that road.
Any
Um,
kind of event, you're gonna have a lot of vehicles.
I
You
would
wanted
say,
them
just
just-
since we're on this subject, if there's a large event and having gone to many children's sporting events, parents are going to find parking spots wherever they want. And I would be almost certain if you eliminate those 5 spots and just curb it, somebody's gonna park their car along that curb there. And it's amazing where people park when it's a large event like that. So anywhere that it could be designated or drawn out that there's parking, I personally am okay with where the parking spots are.
Not, sorry. No, it's
right.
closer to the handicap entrance, and we have to consider them and put them in mind when we are accessing those facilities.
Oh, those aren't handicap spots.
So are those the same spots that
Now you're talking.
we're
These are
talking
spots
about?
I'm talking about, but
Yeah.
they're saying
Those aren't handicap.
They're not?
No, the handicap are down there where the arrow is.
Oh, okay, I thought the same
west
thing, okay,
building.
okay. No, then I agree. Remove.
Okay, I guess my last couple comments then. The driving safety has been hit, the parking's been hit. Those were kind of my concerns. As I said, parents tend to park wherever they can find a parking spot if it's a large event. And if it coincides with some type of community center event, basketball event, I know it's not intended this way, but people may be parking in that south parking lot and trying to find their way from there to the pool. Is there a sign plan, or is this all today? Like, this is all done? On the mic, sorry.
I was gonna point at the map, like you guys can see what I'm doing. From that enclosed ball walkway on the west end, we have a set of doors that go to the south parking lot and then straight across the hallway to the north parking lot. And we will man that during those large events to where if people need, I parked over here and now I have to go to the pool, they'll have to go through those sets of doors, back outside and walk over to the pool main entrance doors, because we have a strict security issue where we're not going to allow any public to be able to come and go out of the pool into that ball walkway, because that's considered a hallway in the school now. It's part of the school, it's not part of the pool, okay? So, we're keeping that very secure.
Okay.
So that's the plan. If we get an overflow and 30 cars, 50 cars park on the south side, we'll have somebody at a desk there to come this way, through this door, back through this door, and back out again, so we can monitor and keep it secure. If that, I
And
hope
then as
that
far as
answers.
other signage, is there an additional plan that they have to submit?
I mean, so they will be having to meet requirements for signage. There won't be a
Okay.
sign plan for this,
Okay,
but before plan commission.
Sure.
That's just one tenant, but
okay.
they'll have to meet requirements for signs.
Because again, from experience, as the campus grows and now there's an additional building, the more wayfinding signs you can put for
Yep.
people to find where they're going.
Mhm.
I see people turning down, I know the alleyway kind of, that's required, I see people turning down there and not knowing where they're going. So just any extra signage that can kind of direct people where to go is definitely appreciated.
I agree with Greg. As a parent too, I get lost and I don't know where I'm going, so
Yeah.
extra signing would be very helpful.
And now there'll be a building in the way, so to have that wayfaring signage will be critical.
Other than that, I like the look of the building, so I have no concerns. So, any more discussion? Do we have to, what was the final thing, say on the parking stalls?
Yeah, I'll make the motion and maybe Todd can help me kind of fumble. I wrote something down, fumble through the second condition, if everyone's fine with that. Okay. Oldani moves that the Plan Commission approves the site building and related plans for construction of a building addition to Oak Creek High School for a competition community pool at 340 East Putes Road with the following conditions. 1, that all relevant code requirements remain in effect. And 2, traffic control plans at Knights Place and, for the lack of a better description, the southwest corner of Henry Miller Park be submitted before, help me out here, Todd.
Yeah, I mean, it would say that it's conditioned on revised plans to include traffic calming, and I don't know if engineering has an opinion on that specific, what those would be, but we could work with you guys on that.
Yeah, we can definitely work with engineering on some type of traffic calming control within that area. I mean, it is almost sort of like a little mini intersection. I mean, currently right now, you do have the 2 stop signs on like the east leg per se, and then within that parking lot. So we can definitely be involved with that review.
Wonderful.
Okay, let me take another stab at it. Number 2, revised plans for traffic control on Knights Place and the southwest corner of Henry Miller Park be submitted
Yeah, to staff and
to staff.
Mhm.
Guzekowski will second.
Roll call, beginning with Commissioner Kupczynski.
Kupczynski, aye.
Lorick, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Oldani, aye.
Seifert, aye.
And I.
Balch, aye.
Thank you. And that will bring us to adjournment, unless anybody has any announcements, which I do not. Hearing none, adjournment.
Seifert moves to adjourn at 6:45.
Guzekowski will second.
Roll call, Lorick, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Oldani, aye.
Seifert, aye.
And I.
Balch, aye.
Kupczynski, aye.